once each year, the PCGS Set Registry has the privilege of presenting some truly amazing coins from some of the top registry sets. At the Long Beach Expo in 2010, we presented Dale Friend's Early Half Dollars. The exhibit consisted of 101 coins from Dale's collection of circulation strike early half dollars from 1794 to 1839, and what special coins they are. His basic set has been ranked #1 in the set registry for the past 6 years. Dale considers draped and capped bust half dollars to be some of the most beautiful U.S. coins, and considering the rarity of many of the dates, he also thinks it's one of the most underpriced of all major series, at least for the time being. Most importantly, he considers bust halves to be the most fun series he has ever attempted. In this video, Dale offers some great tips for collecting bust halves and for coin collecting in general, and he passes on some great stories about how he acquired some of the more notable coins. Dale's enjoyment of his coins and the people he has worked with to assemble his collection comes through loud and clear. Enjoy!
Dale, you want to walk us through some of these coins and tell us how you acquired them and what your interest is in the half dollars?
I'd love to. The first bust half that I got was just a type coin. Like many people that start collecting coins, you sometimes don't know what area you want to emphasize. So one of the coins that I got in 1993 from Kenny Duncan was the 1806 pointed stem in Mint State 64. And that's the only bust half that I owned probably for at least 10 years.
Really?
Then, in 2002, maybe 9 years, 2002, I had completed my Barber half collection and decided I needed to move on. And
Is that
Kenny,
when you had the showdown with Dr. Ducker?
we had the showdown in 03,
In 03?
but it was completed by 02.
Okay.
Peter Sherman and Steve Ducker and I presented all of our Barber halves at a February Long Beach show.
Right.
That's right, in 03. So I needed to go to another area, and I thought that bust halves was going to be the area, so I started looking very closely at the bust halves. They did not have the pricing that many other series had already. There were no increases that I could see from the time that I first bought my first bust half in 93 up until 2002. I hadn't seen any real price increases according to the guides. So I started buying bust halves. Kenny Duncan was one of my sources, but later I expanded to about 5 or 6 other dealers, gave them my requirements, and they started finding coins for me. It'd be a tough thing to do today, but back in the early 2000s, they could find, I'm going to say as many as 10 to 20 coins a year for me to actually take a look at.
And they knew you were looking for quality, high quality.
You can go high quality in anything after about 1815. Before 1815, you may have to settle for Mint State 62, 63s, and 64s. And before 1807, you better settle for AUs because there's going to be just 1 or 2 coins that are available, and more than likely you're not going to be able to afford them. So you drop down as you get older. Let me start talking about some of the ones and where I got them. This first one is the 1794 half dollar. I saw this coin when it was first sold in the Eliasburg sale in 1997. I did not bid on it. It was a very expensive coin for me at that time. I really hadn't stepped up in 1997 to paying the kind of money that they wanted for this coin in the Eliasburg sale. But about 4 years later, in 2001 or 2002, it was one of the first coins that I was able to buy once I started getting serious. It was a coin that was offered to me by Silvano, and we reached a deal, and I bought my first real expensive bust half in about 2002.
And you bought the finest ever?
No, it wasn't the finest.
It wasn't?
They have now graded 2 Mint State 61s and a Mint State 64. But one of the really, really big players has the only 64. But this is tied for second finest.
Okay.
And it's an Eliasburg coin, and really started me off to say I think I can find some nice coins. What is neat about the early bust halves is the fact that the population data is very skewed for coins that have a lot of high mintages. Hopefully, if those labels ever get returned, they'll be more accurate. But in early bust halves, it's not skewed. We can actually literally find and designate almost every coin that is in the pop reports in mint state.
Really?
They haven't been multiplied by submissions, and I'm going to make a reference to one of the coins right here. This 1796 half, 16 stars. We literally know where the AU50, the AU55, the mint state 66, and one other mint state coin is. There are 4 coins that PCGS has graded in AU50 and above, and we can actually locate all 4 of those coins.
Wow.
The same is true of the 1797. This is also an AU50 coin, and the 7 or 8 coins that are of this grade or higher, we can actually locate all 7 of them. That makes these coins a lot easier to sell at the time that sale time comes, because everybody knows how many there are. It's not an unknown. The rarity is true. We truly know the rarity of these coins. And that's what's really neat about the bust halves is once you get one in the higher grades, now that's a high grade for that date.
Right.
It's not a very high grade, but it is for that date. You can almost be assured that we know that there aren't a bunch more. And that's what makes the price of coins go up. When you can identify how many there are, that it is rare, and that they're probably not going to make any more, that they've all been found. This 1806 knobbed 6 small stars is not a very expensive coin, but it's very rare. And that's another thing about bust halves that's so interesting. This is the second finest one of this variety, the knob 6 small stars.
What is a knob 6?
The knob 6 versus the pointed 6. The 6 in the date is a curl with a knob on the end. The pointed 6 just goes straight without a knob on the end.
I see.
This is an AU58. They've graded 1 in 63, and this coin. This is the second finest coin of this variety, and this is the only coin I've ever bought on eBay.
Really?
eBay is not the place generally to find real high-priced or rare coins,
Right.
but it is very unusual because I was able to find this coin on eBay.
Was it in the holder?
Yes, it was in the present holder AU58.
I see.
Another neat thing about this coin is the fact that the seller sent me the old green tab, not green tab, the rattler holder that it had originally been in.
The rattler.
And it was unattributed. It was just an 1806 without the additional information concerning its variety. And it had not even appeared in the pop reports at all until he got it certified as the type of variety that it was. What is really interesting about this coin, I paid $11,000 for this coin, and it is still way undervalued, being the second finest known of this variety.
What do you think you could sell it for today?
It would take an auction to know for sure. The price guides don't give it any attributed large value because it has never traded. This next one is the 1807 large stars 50 over 20, meaning there was a 20 put in the back near the denomination of 50, and then they put 50 over it. This again is the finest known 1807 50 over 20. It is mint state 65. They've only graded 165.
Wow.
And we're sure that there's only one. There's not another one sitting around someplace. Again, this coin is really not that expensive. It's expensive for people that can only spend $500 or $1,000 for a coin, but being a Pop 1 coin, if this was a Pop 1 coin, and this is also a rare date, in the Walking Liberty halves, in the Buffalo nickels, in the Standing Liberty quarters, it could be a $100,000 coin because of the demand, the larger demand and more collectors in that area. But as a Pop 1 coin in the bust halves, it could be bought, this coin was bought for $35,000. A third or a fourth as much as it would cost to buy a similar coin in a more recent series. So the coins are still very undervalued in my opinion. There have been some really, really nice sales of bust halves, not in the last 2 or 3 years, but in previous years. Some collectors, either through their estates or individually, have sold some of their coins. That hasn't happened for some time now. This 1811 large 8 came out of the New York Connoisseurs sale that occurred in March of '06.
It's got beautiful toning.
This is tied for second finest known. I haven't seen the finest known, but it's tied for second finest known. And we know exactly how many of these exist. We know where all 4 of them are. Again, emphasizing the fact that we can be comfortable that these coins are really as rare as we think they are.